Identity has been a major problem in relationship all over the world. And that is why men will say, I'm this, women will say, I'm this. Men will say, I'm that, women will say, I'm that. We've always had a problem coming to an agreement to what who is and what who is not. That's what we'll be doing today on this Real Talk. Let's go for a quick break and I will be right back. Don't get away, the show still continue. I remain your host. Yeah, to do this today, I'm not alone here. Like you know, always I have my co-hosts and authorities to do this today. It's still relationship issues. I have all the way from Lagos, Laurie Jones. Laura, good to have you here. Always looking sweet. I almost think you were not going to come.
I just rushed in. I'm so
I can
sorry.
see. It's okay. You're welcome. All the way
Thank
from
you.
Milan, we have Massive Mac. Massive Mac, are they about to this your hair?
Yeah, when I talk to the pretty women, they say, this old Baba. So I said, no,
Don't mind them.
no,
Don't mind
no,
them.
no.
Yeah, today we'll be looking at, in the relationship world, we have had issue on what is who and who is who. And one of those things is this, that men are polygamous in nature. It has been a very serious issue all the years, all along. So today we want to find out, are men truly polygamous in nature? Laura, please take the stage. Are men truly polygamous in nature?
Okay. We were born into the world to hear this saying men are polygamous in nature. But to me, I would say that's a big lie. Okay? The people, I'm telling you, it's not true. Men are not polygamous in nature. If men were polygamous in nature, maybe God would have, for the Christians, as in the Bible, we saw that God created only Adam and Eve. Okay? If men were polygamous, as in God created men to be polygamous, maybe he would have created Eve, Stella, Mary, and all those things, giving Adam so many women for him to be polygamous. It's because men derailed. I'm sure the person that even brought out that saying that men are polygamous in nature actually derailed. Maybe he wanted to cover up his promiscuity. Now generalized it that men are polygamous in nature. Men are not, and they cannot be polygamous in nature. So many things follow polygamy, and it's not everybody that can afford it. So you can't tell me men are polygamous in nature when you have the poor men that can't take care of even one person, not to talk of having plenty. Then you say everybody's from. If it is their nature, there should be provision for everybody to be polygamists.
Wow,
You
I
understand?
like the angle. I like the angle you're coming in from this now. Massive Mac.
Yeah. So
I can see
we
Catherine.
say men are not.
Okay, let me use this opportunity to welcome Catherine all the way from Ghana. Catherine, good to have you here.
Good to
Uh,
see you all.
Good to have you, sister.
You know,
Massive Mac. Laura just said something that hits me so hard. He said, Ab initio, during the creation, if God originally wanted men to be polygamous in nature, he would have given Adam 2, 3, 4 wives. But he actually gave him one woman as a wife. What's your take on this?
Let me start by saying let's not bring in the biblical perspective, because if you're going to look at Adam, few years later, you had other men, and they were all with many wives, and God allowed them. So biblically, yes, you have a lot of them. A lot of them: David, Abraham, Moses. I mean, if you want to go into that part of the discourse. So, and he allowed them. And there was the madman also, Solomon, that broke the record. So, but what I want to say is, as in the human autonomy, the human structure, I want to tell you that yes, men are polygamous in nature. Um, we've had we've had this argument flow for too long, but you see, one thing about this argument is, as long as your mind says this is what you believe in, it sticks to it. So no matter what anybody says, you don't want to change. You don't want to go back. You feel no, my own is what it is. Men by nature cannot be contented with one woman. Yes, by nature, most men are polygamy. Only the strongest moral restrictions and maybe some other factors like poverty and hard work and all these things can make a man probably become monogamy. That's one man, one wife. Most times, recently, there's a rich man we all know called Bill Gates. Do you know the Bill Gates failed marriage? His divorce recently is a recent thing. It's as a result of him having numerous affairs with women, and the wife doesn't want that. So the thing now is, why are you having all these secret affairs with women with this money you have? Why not just make them your wife instead of pretending to be one man, one woman type of person, and now it is hurting your marriage and your family and so many other things in extent. So a lot of psychologists, a lot of professors, and whatever you have tried to defend and also support this whole argument. But the one fact remains that it's hard for most men to be faithful to one woman. Yes, it's very hard, very very hard.
I
I tell you.
I like what you said. You said except on a special moral upstanding for men who have it. Now that
Yeah.
still takes me to what Laura said. Laura said that
Mhm.
ab initio, from the beginning, that is how God created it: one man, one wife, until men derail. And I would agree with her. It was actually when men derail that people like your Solomon you mentioned, your Abraham, the
David,
David, those one you mentioned, that
all the
was because
kings,
they
most
have
of the
derailed. Do you understand? That was not, if we go by Bible standard, like you said, normally we should, if you go by Bible standard, it's rare. That was why the multiple women started coming in. Catherine, what is your view on this?
Thank you. I think you've said everything. I support Mr. Mark. He had really made a very remarkable statement. This polygamy, I believe we cannot put a stop to it because individually we are coming from different beliefs. We are coming from different kind of environment where a lot of people support, some also don't support. So I believe that wherever your faith is, I want to use faith because of some people, no matter what you say, no matter what you tell them, they are still going to do what um they have intended doing. Like I support Mr. Mark. So if you are a man and you per your culture, okay, per your culture, that is what you are doing. I think they should rather do it well. Like the example he was telling us, you can't be. You can't present your wife, one wife, and be doing other things elsewhere. Come out and let everybody know that this is who you are and this is what you want to do. Yeah, so I support everyone. I believe that we have our values. We should go according to our values. If at the end of the day it's not going to hurt anybody, if at the end of the day one is not going to destroy it, I believe that it's okay.
Now, talking about going by values and culture, that is culture. Now, I quite agree with you, the culture. And we should understand one thing. Men made culture, culture did not make men. And we made these cultures by the availability of the knowledge available for us at the time we were making this culture. And normally, culture is supposed to be revolving. Do you understand? We made this culture. Now,
I
if you look
understand.
at it generally, you will understand that polygamy is not genetic, it's socially accepted behavior. And like Massive Max said, except some who have strong moral nature. Do you understand? Genetically,
Yes,
if you look at genetically, women can be polygamous in nature, men can be polygamous in nature. If you look at what is happening in our society today, now let's talk about the men. You said they are polygamous in nature. Giving them women, 3 women, 4 women does not stop them from wanting more. Laura, now, people were
I
like
know a lot
this
of
man who is.
people will not, I know a lot of people will not understand. Okay, they will not really agree with what I'm saying. But the truth of the matter is that no matter what you do, that kind of system will not fade out of our system. Other men who have decided not to stay with one woman, okay, may want to have more women. So I think going forward, we should look at how we can protect those women. We should rather speak to those women to really guard themselves if they really want to enter into that kind of situation. Because I will not be happy if my husband goes out and bring another woman. I will not be happy. You get it? Aha. So I want to make a like that. I repeat, jealous.
See, talking about this now, we're not actually trying to stop it, but we're trying to discuss it to understand it very well. You know, the view of my own view is this: if a man said he's polygamous in nature, and a woman can actually be polygamous in nature, it's playing out in our situation today. You see women having 2, 3, 4 men. We've seen in this our Africa, we've seen women. I know a woman from Uganda who married 7 men. Even in Nigeria here, we have a woman who married 3 men. So it's coming up. So the thing is this: if men say they're polygamous in nature, women can actually say they're polygamous in nature because it all goes down to social accepted behavior. It's not a genetic thing. Do you understand? And Laura, what do you have to say to what I just said?
Exactly. When you say something is this by nature, it's like saying sugarcane is sweet by nature. You were born with it. We can't say or believe that men are polygamous in nature. I will still say it. It is men that derailed, that started saying such things. Even in the Bible, even it was when Abraham went to marry another person because of,
Yes. His
you
house head.
understand?
His house head. That was when it started. Yeah.
So Abraham was actually supposed to be with his first wife. It was the first wife that pushed him to get the second one and all that. It was not as in the initial plan. I don't know how it is in the Muslim side or anything, but maybe probably Muhammad has more than one, and then they now put it. I don't know anything about that. I can't say what I don't know. So, then traditionally, in the olden days, the people that actually do this polygamy something were people they were rich men, very rich men that wanted to just be naughty because they feel they have lands, they have money, and they were selfish. They needed plenty children because of their farm. It's not
Exactly.
nature. it is not in any way men's nature to be polygamous.
By the way, okay, hello everybody.
You know,
I just wanted,
yeah,
I
I
just
quite
wanted
agree
to,
with you. I
let
quite
me
agree
ask you
with
a
you.
question.
So,
Let me ask you a question.
Sir George,
Yes,
we
sir.
welcome you to the show.
Thank you, thank you.
Welcome you to the show. Laura, I
Uh,
quite agree with you. Now, if you talk about those men who claim it's and actually people who have low moral standing. It goes with low moral standing. If you have a low moral standing, like Massive Snatch said, there is only few men who have good moral standing that can actually stay with one woman. So it means that those ones who go for 2, 3 wives, their moral, the actives, their moral is very, very low. So I think we should bend it at that. So, Sir George, you welcome to the show. We've been discussing.
Thank you.
I really don't agree. So many things. Okay, Sir George, go ahead, George. Go ahead, George.
We're asking a question. Are men polygamous in nature?
Well, if men were supposed to be polygamous in nature, it could have been that when God created Adam, in creating Eve, he would have taken one rib from the right side and another rib from the left side, and then create 2 women for the man. So Jesus said in the book of Matthew chapter 19, since somebody quoted the Bible, he said, from the beginning it was not so. That he that made them from the beginning made them a man and a woman. So God did not create us men to be polygamous in nature. Now, there were things that were allowed in the old days for the purpose of, what you call, populating the earth, because he said, be fruitful, multiply, and then, just repopulate the earth in short. If that was the case, also, would have been instructed, listen, don't take only one wife, you gotta take at least 4 or 5. So when I start, repopulating again, it will be quicker and faster. So Abraham should have also married from the beginning 2 wives. Things that were allowed. It was Sarah who wanted her maid, to go to Abraham because they were not believing God completely. So I don't believe that men were created to be polygamous in nature. It was man's invention. It was because of the wickedness of man. And then at a stage, it was also used as a way to make man, the richer you are, you have more children, like our lady just said, you have more children, therefore, they can help you with the cultivating your farmland, rearing your animals and all that kind of stuff. It was man's invention. It was never God's intention from the very beginning. And I don't think it is. Where things were allowed at a stage because of the wickedness of man. Look at it today. We're still doing some kind of slavery. But slavery was so rampant during the days of Christ, and it was allowed. It was allowed. In the days of Abraham, in all the Old Testament people that we saw, it was allowed. In our nation, it was allowed, but today it's not allowed. So we have to understand the intent and the purpose of God from the very beginning. So these are man's invention. I don't believe that God wanted us to have 10 wives or 15 wives. No, I don't think so.
Wow,
So,
that's
Brother
a
Mark,
good one. It looks like we're Massive Mark. It looks like me, Laura, and Sir George, who were in spirit speaking, because before he came, what most of the things he said was what I and Laura was actually saying. Now he said it all, and Laura said it. This polygamy thing started from the beginning, out of selfish interest, out of people's selfishness. Do you understand? That's it's a part of slavery, because, like, I knew my grandmom told me that the men marry many wives then because they have farm. They want them to go and farm in their farm. Do you understand? They want a lot of children who will work in their farm. Now, we are no longer in that era. You don't need people to go and do farm for you. So, and why are we still continuing in that? It still boils down to what I said: low morality. If you have a low moral standard, it's easy for you to get entangled with many women, and that is problem in our society. Catherine,
But
did you hear
but
what
yes, but
you
I just
want
said,
to say something?
Yeah, yes.
It's okay. Let me hear you.
BD, I was saying something at the beginning. Listen, all over the world, immorality is going on. People have one wife in the house, but have countless girlfriends. And now you have those words they've brought up, some synonyms, side chicks, baby mamas, hook up, whatever, and all those things. Now, it shows that we are all pretending. We are just being hypocritical about things. If you desire to have all these side chicks, baby mama, all these things scattered around you, why not make them a family and make it legitimate?
It's okay.
Yes, it sounds crazy, but that's the truth. Here in the West, for example, men are having all kinds of relationship outside marriage, but they will tell you, no, don't you just stay with your one wife. So listen to this. It is in the nature of man. I don't know if anybody will agree with me, but I've said it is in the nature of every man to want to procreate and want to have more women. Now, the limit is up to you. But I know this for sure, that man was created for many women, but one woman was created for one man. Yes. Now, also, George was quoting Bible. There is a part of the Bible that Psalms 127, 127. He says, the man's heart, blessed is the man that has quiver full of children, not quiver of children, full. You take note of the word full of children. So it is actually God's plan to have a very big family of people if things are done right anyway. And when we now come to morals, you see, moral is different from what we're discussing about. The problem is we're mixing so many things in together as in this whole issue. There is a rule actually for good morals in marriage. The Bible talks about if you take another woman, treat this new one as you treat the first one. It's there in the Bible. So there are rules on all of these polygamy plan, but there are no rules there is nothing in the Bible for a side chick, baby mama, hookup queen, slave girl, and all that. There are no rules for that. So it is bring that girl into your house and legitimize it.
Can I say something, please? Can I respond to him?
You will respond to him. Let me say something. I want to answer your question. Now, many wives, we are in this situation, we are in this society. Do you know that a man who marries second wife will marry third wife, will marry fourth wife?
And what's the problem with that?
No, when you said that it is their nature, when you talk about nature, you should understand that it's not genetically, it is socially, it's what the society or the community has accepted. Yeah, now when you talk about moral has everything to do with what we're talking about. Because if you have a moral standing, if you understand what moral is, you will respect your wife and respect your body, because you know it belongs not just to you but to your wife. Now, when we talk about full of children, it must not be biological yours. Do you understand? Yes, you can have a lot of children. It must not be you. And in the olden days, we have our mothers having children, 10, 12, 15 children. So, Sir George, you can take the stage, please.
What I was trying to tell him is this. My father and my mother have their quiver full of children. I'm the first child, and there were 14 of us in our family. We were born 14. I was a twin, and we had a set of triplets. So my mom was very fruitful. So when he talks about that, he's not telling you to go and multiply wives. If you want to show by example, look at all the biblical situations where God is trying to tell you that multiplication of wives will cause you heartache and headache and problem within the family. We'll give you an example. When Sarah gave Hagar to Abraham, look at today, we're still suffering it. We're still suffering it till today. The Arab Spring, all those things. Now, when Jacob married several wives and took his concubines to bring in, They sold Joseph. Look at, we are still suffering. Part of the problem they had was because of multiplication of wives. So what I'm trying to say is, it's not human nature, it's not God's creation on intent for you to multiply wives. Now, listen to this though. If you're able to contain it, if it is, this is what you want to do, I don't think that will prevent you from going to heaven. I don't think so personally. But I think the first and the most important intent of God in creation is not for you to go and multiply wives, because there are so many issues that come through it. Now, so many men can weather the storm, but you will end up dying early. Most of them do. Because of, because Massive Mark, can I ask you a question? Massive Mark, please.
Yes.
Massive Mark, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Have you been able to deal with one woman alone, talk less of 2, 3, and 4?
Well, we have.
Can you just Can you just imagine?
Let me say this now. Do you know the sin of immorality, fornication, and idolatry are the two sins in the Bible that is boldly written as sin before God? Now, why do you want to commit that sin when you can actually make it legitimate? Why do you want to run out? Because what you're saying is talk like this that is promoting hookups, side chicks, hang up girls, and all these things we have all around.
Low morality is causing that.
No,
low morality is causing it.
We have said,
what does the Bible say to
we have
you?
streamlined marriage.
Massive Mark.
And
Massive
these men
Mark
are built to have family. These men are built. Man, do you know? Listen to this now.
Massive Mark. What we should be discussing here is not multiplication or stepping out of your marriage. What we should be discussing is what's causing that, because women have used sex to manipulate, sabotage men, and use it to hijack everything. I am tired, I am no longer interested, or this or that. And then you're going to live in the house with a woman for 6 solid months and she's not giving up anything. So now the Bible even tells you in the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 7, for your body belongs to your husband and his body belongs to you. So we must to reculture the mindset of women to understand not to manipulate or even to blackmail men with sex, because that is immoral and that is against God's will.
You guys are going out of what we are talking about.
No. We have to cause and effect. Cause and effect. That's what you have to discuss.
Okay, go ahead.
Is it the cause or effect of second wife?
The cause and effect is making men to go out there and step out. He's talking about men going out there to find concubines and getting girlfriends and all that kind of stuff.
I totally disagree to that. You know why I said, in this part of the world, men who have 2, 3, 4 wives, they still go outside. It's about self-worth, self-control, and self-discipline. That is why these men get entangled with many women. It has nothing, I'm telling you, it's about lack of self-worth and self-discipline.
I disagree. To a degree.
Catherine, let's hear from you.
You see, the revelation about what we are saying is that a lot of people are empty. Okay? Emptiness will let you look around to find something that will satisfy you. All these men going after 2 women, 3 women, 4 women, 5 women, because there is this emptiness in them. And this emptiness starts, when they are single. Most of them goes through a lot of things. Instead of waiting to be healed, instead of waiting to be restored, a lot of marriages, some of the men are not spiritually matured. They are not mentally ready. They are not physically stable. You must be in the marriage from the beginning of it. Your spirit, your soul, everything in you must be present. So the reason why this thing is really spreading is because of emptiness. And they feel that sometimes they marry their wives and they end up not getting that. They feel like, no, there is this fulfillment that I was looking out for, but I'm not getting it. Let me try this woman if I can get that satisfaction. So it is emptiness that is making a lot of men run after women. All these things can stop when they admit, okay, when they admit that before you enter into that marriage, admit that you are empty. Admit that you must be spiritually, physically present in the marriage. Okay, a lot of people are about to get married. Some of us are watching us. They are young people, okay, and they want to get married, and I won't be surprised if mentally they are not ready. Mentally they are not ready. So all these things start from the mind. The woman is beautiful, the man is handsome, but they are not mentally ready. So they will enter into marriage. That is why you will see a big man with a beautiful wife, and then he will leave the woman and go for someone else. Sometimes we look at it and we're like, what is happening? So all these things this man is looking at, he is not satisfied. It means that he is empty. So we want to tell them, before you get into marriage, make sure that you are physically, spiritually matured. When you enter into it, you know that it's forever and ever. You are not looking elsewhere. When any young person listening to us, if mentally you don't get steady, you don't get prepared through prayers, reading of materials, consulting your elders, your parents, you need all these information to be able to build you up. If you don't do that, and you feel like I have money, I will come out with a flashy wedding, you will marry, and then 3 months later, you start looking around. So that is all I can. So that is the genesis. A lot of men, women are not stable. Thank you.
All.
Okay. Can I say something? You know, because women will talk from a woman's standpoint, men will talk from a man's standpoint. And when a man and a woman are living in the same house for so many years, you go from the physical attraction to the mental, psychological attraction, emotional attraction, and then you enter into the core of becoming one with your mate. In the midst of it, the way problems are solved in marriages or in relationships sometimes are the cause of these people dipping outside. I talk to men, I counsel men, and I know some men that are so dedicated to their households, but because of one disagreement or another, the woman shuts down completely. They have a closed spirit. They want to have nothing to do with the man again because of disagreement. They close the door, no more entrance. 6 months, 7 months, 8 months. Okay, so I am asking you women a question. Let's find out some of the causes of these people dipping outside. Now, given there are some men that are just, they're promiscuous, because they have, friendship or whatever they do outside, to them it's nothing. I have to conquer, when I have 10 or 5, 7 women. No, there are some of those. They're out there. But there are some good men, a few good men that are in serious relationship with their households. But yet, because of the manipulation and hijacking of certain things in the relationship that God ordained to be freely given, romance is no longer there. So these are the things we need to start talking about, because a woman will go out there. You don't want to listen to your husband. When he's talking about things that are important to him, you don't listen. Or you just want to, whenever you're talking about things that are important to you, that's when you want him to listen. So there are some quality things. A man who desires respect, a woman wants love and security. When you disrespect your husband so much so that he becomes so little in his own eyes, and somebody out there is giving him that accolade, giving him the respect or whatever, he quite naturally, he will gravitate towards that, because we'll move in the direction of our dominant thoughts. So what we need to be discussing here is not, okay, where there are some men that they just want to, like our brother who thinks that it is a natural thing for us men to marry several wives. No, I don't believe that. I don't,
It's
because
okay.
that's not the intent and the purpose of God from the very beginning. Now, there
no.
are some people that are like that, who can live that kind of lifestyle, and it is okay with them, and they're able to they suffer the consequences at the end, whatever the case might be. But in a natural setting where the intent and the purpose of God is one man, one woman, it's not Adam and Steve, it's Adam and Eve. So let's understand that also. But in this situation, how do we enhance the relationship within a marriage between a man and a woman? What are the causes of a man that might be tempted outside and he will now fall for that temptation rather than staying with his wife?
It's
That's
okay.
something we need to really start discussing.
You have really spoken very well, and I quite agree with you. A lot of good men out there actually get entangled with another women because of the actions of their wives. You're very, very correct on that. I agree with you on that 100%. Some women don't know when to draw the curtain. They don't know when to say it's okay. They overdo it. But let's go for a quick break, and when we return, we'll continue. We're still discussing, are men polygamous in nature? We'll be right back. Let's go for a quick break. Are men polygamous in nature? I have two men in this studio today. One, an authority in relationship, who said men are not polygamous in nature. I have another man who wants to marry the whole woman in Africa, who said men are polygamous in nature. Before we went on break, now we're looking at men. The truth is this: men are not polygamous in nature. Let's not drag it. It's just our culture. The society
Yes.
have decided to say men are polygamous in nature. And over the years, they have programmed this in mind of so many people, even men and women.
Yeah,
So they've come to accept it as the
yes.
norm they are living with. Now, the situation we are talking about now, most we have a lot of good men who believe in monogamy, one man, one woman. But along the line, something pushed them into polygamy. Now, what is that? Many women don't know when to say it's okay. Many women don't know when to draw the curtain. They overdo it. I'm a woman. I will agree with you. We overdo it sometimes. We don't know when to say it's okay. Laura, what do you have to say to this? You know, we women, we can carry
Yeah,
face.
I will say it's some women, it's not all. Because most times when you hear stories of men that became polygamous, their wives, and they don't even say their wife did this or did that. Their wife actually did nothing.
You're right.
They just went and married. As in, they can't even say this is what this woman did that made me marry another woman. They just wanted to marry. They saw something else that they were lusting for. I would say lust. It can be. I don't know whether to call it love or love. I don't know because I don't know how a man will love two men, two women, three women at the same time. I don't know how that is possible. So I would say it's not totally the fault of the will because if you say women should know when to draw the curtain and when to stop and all that. Most times, the men that are actually polygamous, they do not say that it is because this woman did this or did that. They don't complain about their first wives. Even on social media, most times, even for Yul Edochie, everything, they will tell you their first wife is a good woman, is that woman. They will be telling them, we are sorry, sorry, sorry. Sorry for what? What did she do? Why did you become polygamous? Even the Muslims that get married, it pains the wives inside the marriage that their husband went and married another person. And the men, they don't even say, this my first wife is bad. He doesn't do this. She doesn't do that. No, they don't complain. They just long throats. I'll say it's long throat. They want talk, but no. And that is, it still boils down to that moral decadence. It just still boils down to that you can't control your morals. That's why you became polygamous. It's not in your nature. It's just loss of self-control.
Now, Massive Man, can
Yes.
you hear me? Massive
Very
Man,
well.
can you hear me?
Very
Laura
well.
had said it. I said some women don't know how to draw the line, and she corrected me, and I quite agree with her. She corrected me that she did not agree that because most men who get involved in polygamy, their first wife don't do anything to them, and if you follow most of their stories, after years, you see them telling you that they made a mistake, that their first wife still remained the best. And you know the funny thing about this, majority of, let me tell you, 85% of second wife that come, they don't come for love, they come for what they can grab, or maybe probably to answer name. So what do you say of what Laura just said?
First of all, let me correct some notions here. Number one notion is I didn't say all men are to be polygamous. I didn't say so. What I'm saying is if it pleases a man, that's the path he wants to go, it's open for him. There's nowhere he says because he has chosen that path, then he's doomed for life. That's number one. So I'm not saying it's everybody and it's something that's open. Every man is no. You have men that want to have their one wife and be at peace, and you actually have, like George said, few good men that have been in their one relationship and it has spawned for years now, and it's still going on. But listen to this. Number one thing I'm trying to that somebody decides to be polygamous is not a crime. It's not like an evil thing. It's not like he intentionally did it to hurt the wife or to make anybody feel bad. And he's not doing it because he wants to have a bolo, a goosey, and whatever variety. No. So it is because naturally man's component, maybe George does not agree with this, man's component expands. I mean, we are built to dominate, to control. Yes, that's it. And I'm not saying for me anyway, but I'm also supporting some of these men.
Massive Man, could you hold
Now,
it a little
now
there?
let me
Excuse me.
finish. Okay, you asked me something. I've not come to that.
No, and
Right.
we will come to that. Do you know
Okay.
that as a married woman,
Uh-huh.
sometimes you meet a man you like, you admire, but because you're married, you kill that urge. So you can go on.
Yes, that's very true. Very true. So, the man Lara was saying, married a second wife and had to apologize to the other wife because there's a force that does this. There's a force behind that polygamy. It's not. It's something you see when that force comes, you can't help it. There's a force that push men to do this, and they don't do it to hurt the first one or to make that one feel bad. It's not. It comes like a force. That's one thing you have to take note. And he really means it when he tells the first one, I didn't do this to hurt you. Because truly, he is looking beyond that thing. You know, one thing that has killed the modern African man and woman, you young ladies, is emotion. We are all emotionally driven. Yes, God built emotions in us, but we have been too, there is a way emotion controls us as a people, Africans. we get too petty. Emotions makes us too, my wife, I love her more. Listen, life is not emotional. Life doesn't give, in fact, the life itself is harsh. And you have to do what you have to do because you have to do it. Sometimes you do it for the sake of posterity, for the sake of nature. You don't do it because of emotion and I love my wife. Or I don't, you know. So coming to what George is saying, George is saying this because he decides to be a single man. He's happy with his wife. It's good for him. But not all men want to be like that, and you won't blame them. And you can't tell me they'll be going to hell because they chose to have 2, 3 wives. Now, one thing we need to know, like I've said from the beginning, is it's in man's nature. Nature. Check the word nature. Naturally, a lot of men are bound to have more wives than just one.
It's okay. Now, Sir George, I want to take him from the angle of force. There are force that push men. It's not natural. I think that's what he said. He said it's not natural, that it's force. That am I right, Massive Mike?
I said
force.
yes, it's a
It's
force.
not
There's
natural,
something
Abi. He said it's not natural.
that's why the young man can take a second wife.
He said it's not natural, Abi.
Yes,
It's okay.
yes.
I got that. Now, Sir George, I quite agree with him. It's force. It's not natural, and that comes from culture. Our culture has so much empowered the men towards thinking that it is their right to marry as many women as they want. It's culture. It's not genetic, like I said here earlier. The culture has so empowered them. Do you understand? So they're no longer looking at the moral aspect of it. They're not looking at the discipline aspect of it. They're not looking at self-control as a person should possess as a man. They are not looking at it. That is what he's calling push. Is that culture enablement that has enabled them, that has encouraged them, that empowered them to do these things. What is your take on this, Sir George?
Well, I would say that culture is only one aspect of it. You know, the world at large comes from different angles. And when he says it's force, it's actually, the influence of male dominance, that we want to be like animals instead of humans. Okay. I know, seriously, that's what it is, because there are things that are permissible, but they're not expedient. They are not profitable. For a man to have peace in his house, I believe that an intelligent man who loves his wife, honors his wife, celebrates his wife, ought to be with one wife. Because if both of you are able, marriage is difficult, but you have to work it. But you work it to, so that it can work out for you. When two people are committed to one another, no external force, no influence from outside is supposed to affect that relationship. Where there is time that you spend with your loved one, you communicate with them effectively, you are honest to the degree where both of you, understand each other, you're quick to forgive one another, even when mistakes are made. These are the qualities of things, and you celebrate your relationship, celebrate your wife, celebrate who she is, and she celebrates you. She respects you highly, and you respect her back. These are the things that we need to, understand. But when those things are lacking in a relationship, and when you quick to go and find somebody, you didn't even spend time to know whether you guys, are compatible. And compatibility does not mean similarity. Like I say all the time, comparability might be, because you guys are different and you celebrate your differences, you are able to know how to be able to, meet your wife halfway, because she loves to go out a lot. You don't like to go out, or she loves to do certain things, and you learn how to do those things because you love her. So these are the things we need to talk about. There are so many cracks and loopholes in relationships that are causing men to go outside. Some of them are because of peer group pressure. You are being friends with men that are all very promiscuous. Every time you hang out with them, you go out there doing things that is not morally right with you. But when you tolerate that to a degree, you will move in that direction, because these are the influences in your lives. So, they say that evil communication corrupts good habits. So you ought to, if you are hanging with men that are always there, chasing women, doing all these things, as a married man, It is up to you now, because you love your family, you love your wife, you love your children, to make sure you discommunicate from those people that can influence you negatively. No, the forces out there are many, and those forces are not good forces. They are evil forces. They are natural forces. They are not supernatural in nature from Almighty God, the way He intended for marriages to be. So that's one thing we have to understand.
That's a nice one. Catherine, when Massive Mike was talking, he gave example of Bill Gates, and some
Okay.
of them, yeah, their wives, because they have a self-worth, actually left them because they get involved with other women, which is not common in this side of the world. In Africa, if you hear it, they tell you African man, it's not just men. African men are polygamous in nature. And the impunity at which our men flaunt these women, or even go about getting married to a second wife, a third wife, without discussing it with their wife, then they now expect her to accept it. Now, Sir just said something that we are human beings, but we've decided to live like animal. I know so many Africans will not agree with him, but actually agree with him, because if we want to behave like humans, we should stick with one man, one wife. Before, maybe if it goes wrong, we can now renegotiate and maybe get into another one. What is your take on all these things?
Okay. Once again, we are all doing well. I think per the environment I am coming from, I am not really exposed to this kind of polygamy, this kind of the system that the practice out there, getting two wives. I have not, just that I've heard people on television, on TV stations, coming to discuss their problems, and then the host will be discussing that kind of thing. But in nature, it is not right. In natural sense, it is not right for a man to actually get another wife. I keep saying that an empty person would want to fill an empty cup, whether I'm an empty bowl or an or an empty spirit. Okay, so that will make them hunt for all these things. But currently in Africa, a lot of things are changing. I have to be frank with it. A lot of things are changing. A lot of people are getting to be committed to their wives. Just that they are doing it secretly, like Matthew Mark said. There are a lot of them are doing it secretly. But openly, you see a lot of men, I mean, having one wives. During a vow, I saw a lot of men posting their wives, celebrating them on social media. And I was so excited. And especially in my church, we had to there was a get together for all couples, and it was so beautiful. Okay, so if we have to say about Africa and about what is happening here, I can boldly say that things are really changing. But other places, I keep saying people, other people will not change. And I really don't want to go details into this thing. People will not change, no matter what Mr. George says. Some people will not change. That one we must get it. They will not change. Whilst they are making their money and they see the nice girls, they will follow up on them. Okay. So what we have to do is that for anyone listening to us today, we want to tell you that it is not a good thing. It is not a good thing to be going out with, getting married to so many people. Try and start family with somebody you trust emotionally, physically, and be able to build a family with a person and leave a good legacy that tomorrow, if you are not there, somebody can say that, oh, my father got married to my mother for 30 years, and then after your death, people will not come back and say, I had three sons with Mr. So and so, or I had two daughters with Mr. So and so. So we must be careful and let everybody know that it was not so from the beginning. So it shouldn't be so now. We should try as much as we can to protect that which God has given us, especially for those of us that are married. Keep your marriage. Keep your marriage with respect. Sometimes let us bring our ego down. I am the boss of the house. Let us bring it down with all the exposures that some of us, with all the exposures that we get out there, being able to go to the presidency and see when you start going to those high places and you start putting on high heels. Sometimes
It's
if
okay.
you come back
I think
and
I've got to
and,
what you.
and,
Well, see,
and
Kashmiri,
we
Nah,
are
I
not
agree with you.
spiritual and sensible, you end up seeing your man as oh, not being able to get to that level and all kind of things. Let's
mm,
try and humble ourselves
Yes,
no matter what it is. When we come
yes.
home and we take off our weapons, when we come home and we take off our lipsticks and our makeup, we should know that we are home, and that is the expected place God wants us to grow and make a
Thank you
lot of
very much. I
impact.
have to stop you here. We're running behind schedule. Now, I quite agree with you. They will not change, and that is why we're doing this, trying to educate them. Because our society, they have already been programmed, and so many people have accepted it as norm, as the normal thing. Look at the way we are saying it. Most people don't even know the truth. It's a when something stays for a long time, it looks like it's the real thing. Do you understand?
Mm,
This men being polygamous in nature in our society in Africa has been a long thing, and people have come to see it as the normal thing, not knowing that it's not actually the normal thing. Now, another thing people don't even look at this polygamy is the problem is bringing to our health, the mental health is giving us. So many people will tell you, I've seen people, like even me, I've seen people who say, instead of getting married to a polygamy, I will remain single because of the experience they've had from a polygamous home. Laura, what is your take on this?
Exactly. Many men that marry and that are polygamous, 20 wives, at the end, they even advise their children, don't try it. Like my grandfather married
mm.
five women. And I heard he advised my dad and my uncles never to try it because of, I don't know his reasons, but I guess it wasn't okay with him. Okay, so the saying that men are polygamous in nature, it's absolute false. It is not true at all.
True.
Though there are some things, negative influences that make men derail. That was
Yeah.
what I said initially. They derailed and they want to make it normal. There is no normalcy in a man
Amen.
having two girlfriends, having two wives. It stems from um, cheating. You start with cheating. Before you know it, you have two girlfriends. Before you know it, even when you're married, you still want to have a girlfriend. From there, you can now maybe don't you the force that massive Mike said will not make you marry two wives, but naturally it is not like that. I will still say the men that got married, they derailed. They could
Yeah.
not control, even if your wife is giving you problems in the marriage. Like they used to tell women, pray until something happens, pray for your husband, pray for your wife.
Exactly.
That is it. It should
I
not,
like that.
somebody should not make push you out to go and marry another person. Okay, if you cannot handle the problem, fine. Bring in others. Try many. There are many ways to solve a problem. If you bring in, there are marriage counselors, families are there. So many people. Have you tried all that? By the time you
So,
try all that, I don't think that many people
really,
will say, "Oh, yeah, go and
before
marry. This
before
woman is a bad woman. She's pushing you to go." They will try to
yeah,
Exactly.
solve the
Why
Billy,
issue.
many of them,
before you go off, let me just put this. You see, one thing that has
precise,
caused
make it
yes,
brief,
one thing
make
that
it
has
brief.
caused one thing that has caused this the commotion and confusion in the world with polygamy is the people that should be polygamous never were, and the people that shouldn't have been became polygamous. So confusion came into the house. The family broke down, scattered everywhere. But I think this is a beautiful topic. I suggest you come again next time with it. Thank
Now,
you.
you know, see,
Yeah.
like what you said, the problem in our society is that our people, mostly men, don't know the importance of marriage counselors. They don't know the importance of engaging people like Sir George in their marriages. You find out that it's only women that go out for such thing, men don't go, but they need to go for it. I think this is where we draw the curtain because we have run out of time. In fact, I feel bad to say bye bye, but we'll have to go. Our time is up. Good having you all here today. Wonderful discussion. For our viewers, we appreciate you. Join us same time next week on this platform. We love you. Keep love alive.